and welcome back to another Photoshop 101. I know this week I was talking about doing some sharpening and smudging, but I thought I'd just take a little detour and do a start to finish on this particular piece because there's a few techniques that a few people have been asking about. So I thought I'd just grab this one that I'll do from start to finish and give you a few little tools and tips to this will work quite well on faces and various other bits and pieces as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by making a duplicate. So Ctrl J will make a duplicate copy. Then I'm going to go to my stamp tool and make sure that you've got current layer selected, and just make sure that you've got a nice soft brush to use for your clone stamp tool, so the hardness is all the way off. So what we're going to do is we're going to just make sure it's on current layer, select a little bit in the area and just go through and clean it up. It's just, there's a few little marks and things that are a little bit distracting on this particular bauble that I'd just like to clean up. And it works quite well on textured layers as well. Remember to sample from the edges if you want to work in and around an edge area. So that, look, I mean, I could sit here and play with this for ages, but that gives you an idea of just, it's just cleaning that up. Okay, so that's where it was before and this is where it is now. Just looks a little bit neater, even though there's still that spot there that's annoying me. We can maybe try the healing brush and see if that does a better job. That's not too bad. Anyway, okay, so that's fine. So next what I did was I've got this gold bokeh image that I've created just using various brushes and colors and all the rest of it. We'll go into making how to make your own brush a little bit later on. So I've put that in over the top, and of course it's blocked out the image below. So because it's predominantly black with some transparent color over it, you set that to screen and that'll block a lot of it out. If you drop your opacity down as well to say about 50%, and then that gives you a lovely soft glittery effect in the background. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a layer mask, so this little icon down here that's got the filled in with the little dot in the middle, select that. That gives me a layer mask that I can use to mask it out on areas that I don't really want. So I'm going to select a brush and I'm just going to go and get just a nice soft round brush, and I'm going to mask it out on the bauble because I don't really want it on that. Then I've got my opacity set to 50% as well. Then what else I can do, because I don't want it quite so harsh in this area, but I still want to be able to see the glitter here. So still with the mask on, I'm going to make my brush a little bit bigger, make the opacity down to 3%, zoom out a little bit, and I'm just going to run my brush just over, maybe even drop down to 10%, and I can go over that a little more. So I've still got it showing through but not quite as much. So once you've done that, I then went in and I added just a solid color. So if you just go into your adjustment layers, and I've just picked black, so it's just 0, 0, 0 all the way through. And if I set that to lighten, What that does, it deepens all the shadows but allows all the highlights through. It's subtle, but it is there. I then went and added a curves layer, and I brought my colour down a little bit. So mainly in the darker areas, I've brought that down. And with my blacks, I took it up just a little bit to soften it off. So it's not black, like true black, it's just a little bit hazy. So I want to put a little bit of a vignette around this as well. So I just added a new layer, and I went to my marquee tool and selected my elliptical marquee tool. Now I made sure my feather was set at about 250%. Now what this means, and you'll see it in a minute when I do it, I'm just going to select an area and just let go. And what I want to do is I want to create a vignette around the outside. At the moment I've got the inside selected. So if I go to select inverse, now that I've got the little marching ants around the outside, that means this area is selected. Now with my feather set to 250%, it's going to feather, 250 pixels, it's going to feather quite a lot over that. So what we want to do, we go into here and select curves again. I'll just move that out of the way. Now if I go into the sort of darker areas and pull that down, see how it's darkening off the edges but not in the middle bit, and that's because of the feather. So that gives us a lovely vignette around the piece. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to add a bit of highlight to this area here. I want to give it a little bit of a sparkle and some glitz. So I switch to white, and I get a lovely soft brush, and I'm going to set that to about 100%, and I'm just going to tap in once, and new layer wasn't selected. Undo that, go to new layer, we'll try again. Okay, and I'm just going to tap in once. Okay, now as you can see that's quite strong, but if we change this to soft light, it brings it right down. And change it to overlay as well. Oh, and that's a bit bright. I think I'll stick to soft light. And of course you can drop the opacity down a little bit. I then went and did another layer, reduced the size of my brush quite a bit, and did it again. Soft light, and drop the opacity down again. And you can do that a few times, it's up to you. I then put another layer on, and then I went and got a glitter brush. Now I've actually made two, and I'll put them up in a pack for you that you can get hold of. So there's this one and this one, so there's two different ones here that you can use. So this one, if we go in here and click the brush, same again, just set that to try overlay, soft light, and it just gives a little sparkle to it. If you want to turn that one off, and we can try the other one. You can leave that at normal and just drag that down a little bit if you want. That's quite nice, and that gives a lovely little sparkle to your piece. And that's it, that's done. So this is quite a good little way to add. You can add highlights in eyes if you want to put a sparkle in somebody's eye, or on a glass, or even jewelry. Jewelry is another one that's great. You can just add a little sparkle. Now, you don't have to have this standing out quite as much. If you don't like, you can make it a lot smaller. You can make it a lot more transparent. You can change the colour because it's just a brush. But instead of painting around in it, you just dab it on once. So it's more like a stamp. But I'll have both of these and the glitter available in a pack that you can download so you can use them for yourself. So that's it for this episode, and don't forget to subscribe, and bye for now.